Marcus Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho were dropped by Ruben Amorim from the squad, let alone the starting 11 for Manchester City against Manchester United, sir, in the derby. Big move from the manager, but he said it after the fact, I have to look at what the players do throughout the week, the way they eat, the way they perform, the way they dress, etc. He's putting down a marker. Big game. Obviously, United got a big result and a big performance and a huge win for them. But doing this a month into your tenure, this speaks volumes to how this manager thinks, how this manager won't take no shit from nobody. And also, I think, hopefully, the Ineos and crew will give him some leniency to build the squad in his vision, because this is a big, big move from a manager a month into his reign at Manchester United. What are you thinking about the two players not making the squad against in the weekend's match?
I think it's a huge move from Amorim, and it's one that's been coming. And ultimately, whether or not he's coming in and playing a new formation that doesn't suit the players that we have on the roster and could have been a controversial take from a director of football standpoint, he's the type of no bullshit coach that you need. He's going to run the show, and he's going to let them know. And he is. And this is letting players know, no more of this. I think Ten Hag tried to do it a little bit, kind of did it with Sancho. But he's calling out Rashford and Garnacho, and this is his team. Make no mistake about it. This is Amorim's team. It ain't Garnacho's team. It ain't Rashford's team. They're going to cut bait if these guys don't get in line. And that's what it's about with Ruben Amorim. You saw the Sporting Lisbon videos in the locker room. This is his team. Everyone's paying attention. He's telling them what to do. The players are listening. They're very attentive, and you saw the product on the field. It was working, and they were doing what he wanted. They were running their lives depended on it, and they knew that if they didn't try that hard, they wouldn't even be close to the pitch. And the fact that we have two bluffers in Rashford and Garnacho that don't track back or don't put forth 100% effort and think they're bigger than the rest of the squad maybe, and he's basically taking this hard line with them. I love it because he's not going to fail. Amorim won't let it happen. He's not going to let mediocrity seep in. When you saw Ten Hag with a 1,000-yard stare on the touchline, that was someone who let it seep. He let it seep. He let it seep in. Couldn't drop Rashford. Just let mediocrity take hold, and he just let the death nail come and got 17 million pounds. I mean, Amorim's not going to let that happen. It's not about the money for him. It's win at all costs. He's a nut, and he's our nut.
He's our nut, and you know what? You need a nut to win the Premier League title, and you need a nut to win, hopefully, multiple Premier League titles. He's never going to be given more latitude than he is right now, right? He inherited a fucking mess of a season, a mess of a squad, and he's coming in and looking to make his mark on the team, and this is what you need to be seeing. So clearly something he saw in the past week has not pleased him, and you know what? That is very believable based on what you and I have seen over the last decade plus at this club. Too many players have been able to get along based on their reputation or based on what they did in the past and coast from one manager to the next. So I think this is exactly what United need. There are players who are ready to step up and need to step up in other players' absence, and I think at the end of the day, right now, we need to figure out where we're at, what we have and what we don't have from a squad perspective across the board. So, you know what? If you're not good enough or not willing to run from a new manager who just showed up and he's only been here a month, then we don't probably want you at Manchester United. So I like the way he's approaching it. Like you said, this is his squad. It has to be. If this is ever going to be a success, he has to own the thing from soup to nuts. So I'm very, very encouraged by this move, especially obviously because it paid off and we won the game. But this is a big, big statement from the manager early in his tenure.
No, but this is clearly a problem, right? So I think one of the biggest skill sets that he has coming into Manchester United is just the way he was able to eat. A manager doesn't get that Sporting Lisbon team to play like they did without being a hard ass, that doesn't happen overnight. I mean, he asked players to give him everything, right? And United, the number one fault of United, other than set piece defending, is the fact that these players just don't try that hard despite wearing this jersey, and he will fix that, and that is a big problem. And I think you're seeing two players who Rashford's known, also all the shenanigans last year that he pulled, absolutely brutal. And then it tells you everything you need to know, and I don't really want to go back to it, but Ten Hag was sacked and Rashford went to New York City and was wearing plush Louis V courtside at the Knicks game. And if your team's floundering and that's how you think you should be seen in public, that tells you how tone deaf he is. And he is making the money, making tons of money, but that you question the inner circle around Rashford, because that's like kind of like a wake up call moment where it's like, hey man, it's not about you. Like, you just got this guy sacked. I think you should be like probably at Manchester United meeting the new manager. And the fact he kind of ghosted him, Casemiro did, but it's a little more understandable because he's kind of 1 foot out the door anyway.
Right.
But Rashford, that was just not a good look. And if that's how it started, and then 3 weeks in he's getting dropped, and last year he went to Belfast. I mean, China White Club after the Derby loss, all this stuff. It just adds up, and you're just seeing him go in the wrong direction. And like you said earlier, hopefully one of them makes it, because we need it. I mean, like Garnacho especially, like we need him to play well so we can sell him to Madrid for like 150 million. But Rashford looks to probably be in the Casemiro camp.
Yeah, and Casemiro is a much greater excuse for being on the way out, right? It's clear he's not getting another contract, and he's had a hell of a career that can't be matched at Manchester United. But Marcus Rashford, he should know better. Both these players should know better, but they're going to you get one strike. I think you get one go at it, and now there's no excuses. There's no leniency, and these players need to step up, because I have concerns about Rashford. I think a lot of it is who he surrounds himself with. I think, but at the end of the day, he's a big boy and he's an adult. Even though he's been at the club for 20 years now.
Well, who were his boys? Who were his boys? How are they doing?
Jadon Sancho, Jesse Lingard, Paul Pogba.
Exactly. So it's like, how's that crew doing? Like they're very rich. I will give them that. But as far as like, Ronaldo, love or hate him, you can't question his dedication to the craft. And like at the end of the day, like you're a professional. You got to act professional. And I kind of feel like I hope Garnacho plays to the tune of this manager. And I hate to admit it because I am a Garnacho fanboy, but he did do a lot of there was a lot of fuckery with him and Ten Hag where he was like liking posts and this shit. So he's kind of shown that he's got a little bit of that in him. But like at the end of the day, like you want to be an all-star player, you got to do everything the manager says. You got to fall in line. And the fact Ten Hag got sacked and these two haven't, that is like definitely a red flag. But the fact that Amorim was able to get the win, he's consolidating power at Manchester United. I'm sure Ratcliffe loves this. Like fans love this. We love this. We want it to be the standard's the standard. There ain't no fucking around. This is Manchester United. It's championship football. Championship football, baby. Like we need to be like winning the title next year. Like that's the conversation. Are you going to be like this? Ain't no like just like not track back kind of whatever cash 400K. This is like we need to be winning, competing and winning for the English Premier League title like next year. Like that has to be a real like that's what these guys are trying to do. And you're either part of the problem, you're a part of the solution. And right now, these two are part of the problem. Let's see how it plays out.
No, let's see how it plays out indeed. And then you have this compounded by the fact that like the squad's leaking. The starting 11 leaked a night before. That is not good. So all this shit we have to work out. You say it on the pitch, bad habits. You see a lot of bad habits on the pitch. The way we hang our heads, defend set pieces, fight for 50-50. You saw at the end of the game against City, but like we don't do it consistently enough for the 90 minutes. Then you have these bad habits off field. And this is just bad habits from players that we need to squash, and they've happened under not just Ten Hag, manager after manager after manager in the past. So if Ruben Amorim is going to be the guy, if Ruben Amorim is going to be the player that brings us back to the promised land, he is going to be able to squash this shit and know that like once he squashes it, new players aren't popping up and being a problem for him, because that, you just can't have that. It's hard enough to win games and win the Premier League, which is so fucking challenging now with the level of competition, but you can't have your own players like mouthing off, not showing up for practice or doing what it takes to get dropped. So we need everybody dedicated. Like you said, you see the way that Sporting was playing under Ruben Amorim, they would run through a fucking brick wall for that manager. And some of these players and glimpses are starting to show that, like, loyalty to the manager, loyalty to the badge, and we need that. Everyone's got to be all in, because you don't win the Premier League by accident. It's like you have win it through conviction, hard work, and suffering, and we got to be ready to suffer.
I love that. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Right now, only 20% actually subscribe who watch our content. If you like, you help out the algorithm, help other Manchester United fans find our YouTube channel, and we'll see you in the next video.